afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Yes, this is a special edition of Flipside Live coming to you on this Saturday, February the 22nd. I'm broadcasting this particular podcast shortly after 12 a.m. Saturday morning. As some of you may or may not know, I have been experimenting with new blog talk systems that are becoming available. Tested out Blog Talk Live, which I don't have any real complaints with, and I'm still doing my daily broadcast on the Micro Effect at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The reason I'm experimenting with these various mediums out there is because there is, without question, a growing demand for alternative media as the source for information that people obviously are not getting from the mainstream media. I base that conclusion on the numerous reports that have been prevalent of late that the major networks are losing audience to the alternative media. Viewership and listenership to ABC, CBS, NBC, CNBC has been on a steady decline for the past few years. My own personal feeling is the reason folks are migrating towards the alternative media is for no other reason than the so-called mainstream media has failed in its mandate of keeping the people informed of issues of importance. Mainstream media, and especially in America, is nothing more than the propaganda arm of various government agencies. And I guess folks, after being led astray and lied to for a number of years, have finally figured it out for themselves. And thanks to the wonderful world of the internet, have began seeking out alternative sources of information. There has been a growing movement of late although putting together a news service that is not only informative but entertaining is not an easy task. Numerous alternative media sources have disappeared of late, in large part because they have lacked funding, or quite simply has been plagued by bad management. The micro effect, like many other online networks, has had its fair share of financial problems as well, and Joe McNeil on many occasions has given serious consideration to letting the micro effect go dark. Because I believe wholeheartedly that not only are we living in a unique time in world history, but we're also living at a time where having access to reliable, truthful, and dependable sources of information has never been as important as it is today. Ever since the Flipside has been on the air, my sole mission has been not to push a political agenda per se, rather I have attempted to simply point you in the direction of the sources of information out there so that you can evaluate for yourself whether or not a particular story has any validity. I do not use my broadcasts to sell any products. However, let me throw this into the mix. It's no secret I have been a gold and silver broker for many decades, and I have a strong belief system in the reasons behind why I think everyone should own a certain percentage of physical gold and silver that they have in their hands. We are not talking about a piece of paper here. We are talking about the real stuff. The main problem that I see out there right now is there is a proliferation of gold and silver dealers who, although I'm sure well-intentioned, are more inclined to promote products that generate a substantial profit margins so as they can remain in business. This is a very basic concept. Understand this. And for those of you in business, I don't mean to be preaching to the choir here. But in order to keep a business up and functioning, one that has a brick and mortar location, i.e. office space or a store, has a certain profit potential they need in order to simply keep their doors open. So, for example, if a coin store needs a 30% margin in order to pay its rent, its light bill, its phone bill, and all the other bills that come along with it, wages, salary, insurance, they have to generate a minimum of 30% markup in order to keep their doors open. Where Jeffrey Bennett and myself differ from all these other gold and silver companies out there, over at Flying Eagle, we are able to offer the most popular gold and silver products currently available in the U.S. at a substantial discount to our competition. And we do that simply because we don't have a ridiculous overhead to overcome each and every month. Unfortunately for most investors in gold and silver who fall victim to slick marketing, usually end up by discovering when they go to sell that they purchased a overpriced product. Jeffrey and myself come across this problem on numerous occasions when people call us looking to sell a certain amount of gold and silver, thinking they're going to get one price, only to unfortunately get the bad news after we've seen the quality of the product to tell them what their product is actually worth. It's kind of amusing in one way because if any of you have ever watched the program, the reality show out of Las Vegas called Porn Stars, where folks bring in family heirlooms and what they assume are items of value, when they are quoted a price as to what their item is actually valued at, it's a great disappointment to many of them to suddenly discover that what they thought something was worth in the real world wasn't even close. So what Jeffrey Bennett and myself do over at Flying Eagle Gold and Silver is to help people make their way through the minefield of the numerous misinformation and disinformation that's put out by a majority of gold and silver dealers. On my webpage, you will find a link to Flying Eagle Gold and Silver that pretty much explains everything that we do. You can either email Jeffrey or myself, or give us a call toll free at 855-289-7587, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions that you may have. And yes, even though I am physically located in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, Flying Eagle Gold and Silver is headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona. And so all payments and transfers of gold and silver take place within the continental U.S. I wanted to do this broadcast today for a number of reasons. First off being, I have a new system I am playing with, and I also feel that there were a number of news events this week that deserve your attention, because it's been an interesting week, to put it mildly. To start with, without getting into the complexities of the planet with chaos seemingly breaking out all over South America, Venezuela, Argentina, across the pond, many were looking at the possibility of civil war breaking out in the Ukraine, which they seem to have averted at the last minute. But I think the more important story of the week is yesterday's release of the minutes from the Fed meetings that took place in December 2008, prior to the collapse of Lehman Brothers, when the world's credit markets collectively froze. Without getting too in depth into what the minute said, it is pretty obvious to even the casual reader that the brain trust at the Federal Reserve were completely baffled by the economic events that not only led to the collapse in 2008, but were virtually helpless in avoiding it. This is no different to today's Fed. The difference between the Fed in 2008 and the Fed today is the financial condition of the United States today is far worse than it was in 2008. I submit to you that the problems have increased tenfold. So, thinking that the brain trust of the Fed are going to be able to come up with any solution to solve the current financial crisis is just simple wishful thinking. Reminds me of that old adage, if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result each time, it's a sure sign of insanity. After this week's talk about, and this comes out of the minutes from the Fed's Beige Book, it is pretty obvious that the Fed is on a similar path as it's always been, and it is making false assumptions on future growth improving in the West, which is nothing more than wishful thinking at best. Not only is there no recovery in sight, it's highly doubtful that any recovery will take place until there is a major event of epic proportion that takes place. And what may that be? Well, I defer to guys who are a lot smarter than I am and who I've been following for many years, who have got it right more often than they've got it wrong. For example, Ergen van Greyers, head of Matterhorn Investments in Zurich, Switzerland, has, via King World News, given numerous interviews explaining his understanding of financial history and what he sees in the future. And unlike Ben Bernanke, Ergen van Greyers is a true student of financial history. And his firm belief is that, similar to the great debt burdens that were created after World War II, necessitating a reset, also known as the Bretton Woods Agreement, feel strongly that the level of debt today, not only US debt but global debt, is at such a level that repayment is a mathematical impossibility, and that a second reset is probably the likely outcome. And by reset, he is talking about not only the US dollar losing its status as the world's reserve currency, but we will see the introduction of what are known as special drawing rights. Special drawing rights are issued by the IMF at the behest of the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank. And special drawing rights are a basket of currencies made up in various percentages of US dollars, euros, British pound, Japanese yen, and Chinese yuan. This will be a tough sell. However, it's not only Ergen van Greyers that feels that we will be facing a second reset. I direct you to an article that Jim Willey penned earlier this week, entitled "We Are Well Past the 11th Hour. The Global Currency Reset Looms." Judging by the statements that have also recently been published over at King World News, is confirming all of this has been none other than a former Fed official who has come out and stated that not only was he the architect of the first round of quantitative easing done by the Fed, but obviously now realize it was a mistake, and is trying as best as he can to apologize for that error profusely. So there are a number of important issues that have transpired this week that I have documented on my webpage at robbynoel.com that I think are all self-explanatory in their makeup. And because of this new toy, Spreaker.com, I've elected once again to do short daily broadcasts that are going to be dealing mainly with the more important issues of the day, both financially and politically speaking. So, my friends, let me leave you with that, and today's edition of the Flipside, and let me see if I can get the bump music to work. I doubt it. I'm still playing around with this new toy of mine. There you go. So, till the next edition of the Flipside, thanks for listening.